video here. We are still continuing with section 9.1, and we got a couple more examples to walk through. Again, we are going to be working with the parabola. It says find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the parabola by the given equation and then sketch it. Well, here's our problem. This is in general form, and we actually need to go through a process to put it into our vertex form, and here's how we would do that. You have to complete the square. So we're going to move the 1/2 over. You can probably remember completing the square from a while ago. And I have my negative 1/2 x squared minus x. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I need to factor out a half, so it's y minus 1/2 equals, factor out a negative 1/2 here, you're dividing by negative 1/2, we would have left x squared, and if I divide 1 by a negative 1/2, I get 1. So, excuse me, I get 2. 2. All right. Now it's time to do the completing of the square, where you take half of your middle term, so half the middle term is 1, and 1 squared is 1, so plus 1. And if I'm adding 1 times negative 1/2, I need to also add 1 times negative 1/2 to the other side. So I'm adding plus a negative 1/2. That's completing the square. Your next step in completing the square is to write it in factored form. On the left side I have y, and negative 1/2 is really minus 1, equals negative 1/2, and this would factor to x plus 1 squared. And the last step, move the 1 over to the other side. So it's been a while since we've completed the square, but it is a procedure that you're going to need to know how to do and work through in order to get your equation in the right form. And so here we have it. Now with this information, this is my standard form, so y equal, or my, my general form. Now standard form is in a little bit different, so let's go ahead and look at what that would be. Your standard form, if you can remember going back to your formulas, is actually right here. My standard form is before I put it into vertex form, right there. All right, my vertex, though, I can get that from my general form. In my vertex form, I mean, your vertex is negative 1, 1. You get the HK value. The P value, so let's calculate this P value. We know that in order for us to find the P value, we do what our equation is, and our equation is this. You can see we did it over here, 1 over 4p. So 1 over 4p is equal to negative 1/2. And I'm going to multiply this over, so this is 2 equals negative 4p. I'm going to divide by 4, so p is equal to 2/4 negative, which is negative 1/2. All right, so that tells us how far away all of our parts are. Now we're ready to go ahead and sketch this. Okay, here's my x and y axis. My vertex is at negative 1, 1. There's my vertex. I know that this parabola, because it's negative here, because it's negative 1/2, that's my P value, the 4P, then we know it's going to open down. It's going to go like this. As far as where our points are, let's find the focus. So the focus is going to be 1/2 unit down. So the focus is right here. That would be the ordered pair negative 1, comma, 1/2. And then the directrix would be the other side up here. So I need to add a 1/2 to the vertex. So I'm adding 1/2 to this right here. So your directrix would be the equation y equals 1 plus 1/2 or 3/2. 1 1/2 is 3/2. And there you have it. There's your graph and all the information that we need to be able to identify. All right, let's take a look at this next example. We are doing all of the same parts, so we want to put this into the form that we are looking for. And here we need to complete the square here. Now we're completing the square on the y's. So I'm going to take my x and I'm going to add the 36 over to the other side. 36 equals, take the -8 out, and when we do that we get y squared plus 4y. And to complete the square here, I'm going to add half of 4. You take half of 4, it's 2, and square it. That's plus 4. Well, really that's adding to the other side, adding a -32. So it's x plus 4 equals -8 times, factor this expression, it's y squared plus 4y plus 4, so that's y plus 2 to the second. This is helping us get into our vertex form. X equals -8 y plus 2 squared and minus the 4. All right, but standard form here, our standard form would be if I add that -4 back over. So x plus 4 equals -8 y plus 2 squared. Last thing that we have to do here to finish the standard form is divide by your -8. So it's -1/8 x plus 4 equals y plus 2 squared. All right, that's the true standard form. Now, vertex, though. Vertex is HK. You can get it from the vertex form, and that is, our H is the negative. H always goes with X. So here is, this is important, H goes with the X, and the Y here is with your K value. So this is our H right here. H, -4, K, -2. -4, -2. Let's find our p-value. I like to find the p-value coming from my vertex form, so I'm going to use it from right here, -8. So I know that it is 1 over 4p equals -8. So this is 1 equals -32p, and p equals -1/32. That again tells us how far away it is. -1 over 32. All right, let's sketch the graph and then we'll label the parts. And we'll also have to determine how this is opening. Okay, it is an x equals y squareds, and also this 8 is negative, the leading coefficient. It's negative, so this is going to open left. My vertex is -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2, 1, 2. There's my vertex. It's opening left like this. My focus is going to be on the inside, and it's -1/32, so it's going left, so further negative. It's right in here. And we can find that by basically adding the -1/32 to this x value. So it is -4 and 1/32. And then my y value is staying the same. Now the other part to this, the directrix, is on the other side, but right exactly the same measurement away. So this time, my line of my directrix I need to add 1/32 to that -4. So this would be x equals, because this is a vertical line now, it's all because of the way that the parabola is opening. X equals, if I add 1/32 to -4, it's -33 and 32 32. 32 do 1/30 seconds. And there you have it. There's your directrix. All right, last problem. Find the standard form of the equation of the parabola with vertex. So let's go ahead and let's graph what we have here. We've got a parabola and the vertex is at 1, 0 vertex. And the focus is at 2, 0 focus. So that means the directrix would be right here, my y-axis. Focus and directrix. So what this tells me is that this parabola is opening to the right. And what I know is I know that the right is x equals 1 over 4p times y minus k, we'll put this in there, squared, plus h. Well, if my vertex is 1, 0, then my h is 1 plus 1, and my k is 0. So here's what I've got so far. X equals 1 over 4p y squared plus 1. All right, my vertex here, 1, 0. But what's my p-value? Well, the p-value, again, is how far away the focus is. So it's just 1. P is 1. The focus point is at 2, 0. And my standard form, let's go ahead and see how I would put this in standard form. I know p is 1, so it's x equals 1/4 times 1, so 1 over 4, y squared plus 1. What I need to do to get it to my standard form is solve for y squared. So it's x minus 1 equals 1/4 y squared. Multiply the other side by 4, it's 4x minus 1 equals y squared. And that is my standard form. So some things that you want to keep in mind is this. Let's go back to all of our equations. It's important that you understand general form, the vertex form, what those look like, and also our standard form. So in standard form, you have your squared value all by itself and everything else is on the other side. All right, here is your assignment for this first section.